Hey there. I heard some commotion and figured we've got a new neighbor. I'm Lucy.
Hey, Lucy. Nice to meet you. I'm Mike. Just moved in today, still getting things sorted.
Well, welcome to the building, Mike. Need a hand with anything? I'm the unofficial welcome wagon around here.
That would be great, actually. I have no idea where to start.
Let me guess, you've got a bunch of boxes everywhere?
You're a mind reader. How did you know?
Lived here long enough to recognize the signs. Let me grab my superhero cape, and I'll be right back. Let's get this place feeling like home, shall we?
I can't believe how much we've done already. Thanks, Lucy. I would have been lost without you.
No biggie, Mike. That's what neighbors are for. Plus, it's an excellent excuse to avoid my own unpacking.
Fair enough. You've been a lifesaver.
Happy to help, Mike. Moving is a beast, but it's also a chance for a fresh start. Anything else you need assistance with?
Actually, I could use some advice on local places, where to grab a good meal, the nearest grocery store, the essentials.
I've got you covered. There is a fantastic pizza joint 2 blocks away, a grocery store around the corner, and a coffee shop with the best pastries just down the street. I'll make you a list.
You're the best, Lucy. I really lucked out with such a welcoming neighbor.
Don't let it go to your head, Mike. I'm just ensuring we have friendly vibes in the building. Mrs. Henderson, we need to talk. Well, what's this about, Lucy? You've raised the rent again, Mrs. Henderson. It's the 3rd time this year. This is ridiculous. Oh, Lucy, it's just business. Prices go up, you know. If you can't afford it, maybe you should find somewhere more suited to your budget. This is outrageous. You're making unreasonable demands, and we can't keep up with this. Life is tough, dear. But if you want to live here, you'll have to pay the price. This is not fair to any of the tenants. We deserve a say in these decisions. Say all you want, Lucy, but I own this building. I make the rules. We've had enough, Mrs. Henderson. We won't stand for this any longer. We demand a tenants' meeting to discuss these arbitrary rent hikes. A meeting? You think that will change anything? It might. We'll take this to the housing board if we have to. Your actions are unacceptable. You're quite the troublemaker, Lucy. But I'll entertain your little meeting. Don't think it'll change a thing. We have the right to a fair and reasonable living situation. Let's vote on whether we should take this matter further. You won't get away with this, Lucy. Maybe it's time for a change, Mrs. Henderson. Change? In my building? Over my dead body, Lucy. The tenants have spoken, Mrs. Henderson. It's time for a fair and just living environment. We'll see about that.
Lucy? What's going on? Why does everyone look so worked up?
Mike, you're back. We missed you at the meeting with Mrs. Henderson.
Meeting? What meeting? What happened?
It's Mrs. Henderson. She raised the rent again. The 3rd time this year.
What? That's insane. Did anyone speak up?
Oh, we spoke up, Mike. We had a tenants meeting, and everyone voted to take it to the housing board.
Really? That's fantastic. I had no idea things had escalated so much while I was away.
Yeah, you missed quite a showdown. Mrs. Henderson wasn't too pleased.
Well, I guess it's about time someone stood up to her. How did she react?
She scoffed at the idea of change, called me a troublemaker. But we're not backing down. We want a fair living environment for everyone.
I'm with you, Lucy. I might be new here, but I'm not okay with unreasonable rent hikes. Glad to have you on board, Mike. Your voice will make a difference. Let's keep pushing for change. Mrs. Henderson won't get away with this.
That's the spirit, Mike. Together, we can make this place better for everyone. Okay, here's the plan. We need solid evidence to show that Mrs. Henderson is mistreating tenants.
Right. We document everything, late night visits, unfair rent increases, all of it.
I've got a camera in the hallway. It's discreet, but it'll capture any confrontations with Mrs. Henderson.
Perfect. Let's compile a list of tenants who have faced issues. We need their support.
I'll create a questionnaire for them. Anonymous responses will protect everyone.
We need a meeting, a united front. I'll spread the word discreetly. Everyone who's willing to stand up against Mrs. Henderson needs to be there.
Thank you all for coming. We've discovered some concerning practices by Mrs. Henderson. We're not alone in this, and together, we can make a change.
Please fill these out anonymously. Your voices matter, and we're here to support one another. We're stronger together. Let's expose the unfair treatment and demand better living conditions.
This is powerful. We have testimonials, photos, everything we need.
Now, we present our case to Mrs. Henderson. She needs to know we won't tolerate her unfair practices any longer.
And if she doesn't listen, we take this to the authorities. We've got the proof. We won't let this continue. It's time for change.
We have the support of the tenants, and we're prepared to take legal action if necessary, and we won't back down.
We all know why we're here. Mrs. Henderson has taken advantage of us for far too long, and it stops now. What's this all about, Lucy? It's about fairness, Mrs. Henderson. We've gathered evidence of your unjust actions, and we're not letting it slide anymore. Shows the arbitrary rent increases. This is a list of the repairs that were never addressed, and here are the testimonies from tenants who have been mistreated. This is nonsense. I've managed this building for years. Your management has been anything but fair, Mrs. Henderson. You've neglected our pleas for a reasonable living environment, and it's time for you to be held accountable. We're not just a collection of apartments. We're a community. And a community thrives when everyone is treated with respect and fairness. We deserve better. You can't prove anything. I own this building, and you're just troublemakers. We have the law on our side, Mrs. Henderson. We're taking this to the housing board, and they'll decide what's fair and just. This community is more than just a place to live. It's our home. And we won't let you destroy it any longer. The era of unjust practices ends now. All right, I admit it. Maybe I've been too harsh. The rent hikes, the repairs, I see now that I may have gone too far. Mrs. Henderson, we need more than just words. We need action and change. You're right, Lucy. I've been stubborn, but I can't deny the evidence. I'm willing to change my ways. It's not just about changing the rent or fixing the repairs. It's about treating us with respect and fostering a sense of community. Can you really do that? I understand now how important this community is. I've let it slip away, and I want to make amends. I'm genuinely sorry for the pain I've caused. We need more than just an apology, Mrs. Henderson. We need assurance that things will change. I promise you, Lucy, things will change. I'll work to rebuild the trust I've lost. Let me make amends. We'll be watching, Mrs. Henderson. This is a fresh start for all of us. Thank you.